Well, let's start by looking back at last weekend. Just talk me through the two performances. A little bit disappointing, bearing in mind what had gone before.
Yeah, it was disappointing because the previous weekend we were so successful. Things were going our way. We were getting the bounces, but I think it was a dose of reality for us. We understood that Braehead had their backs up against the wall, and those things happen. We came out strong against Braehead at home for the first 5-7 minutes, and then I think we thought it was going to be a little bit easier. They were just going to lay over, but that's never the case. And then up in Edinburgh, every bounce they could have got, they got. Every little bounce they got obviously ended up in the back of our net, and it happens. But the good thing is we got a point out of it. We managed to salvage a point, and that's always a positive. So
I guess it's through adversity that you learn a little bit more about your teammates. What did you learn from this weekend?
I learned that even though when we're down and out, that guys don't get down on each other. That's a good sign of a good team. Always for the first 3 weeks, everyone's pretty friendly and guys are, stick together and this and that. But you really see when things start going, the other way, when we're not winning or something's going, in a downward spiral or whatever it is, negatives always bring the worst out in people, right? So I was really pleased with the way guys responded this weekend, and I think it just attributes to the leadership in the room, and it's a good sign.
Mike Clemente, what do you say to him after something like what happened in Edinburgh on that penalty shot?
Actually, it's funny, he said, I asked him today because I didn't want to ask him because I mean it really doesn't matter, and I said Clemmer, I heard you got a bunch of views online because he I think Mario Trabuco said, man, he's got like 70,000 views in 24 hours. And I said to Clemmer, I said, what do you think of that? Clemmer, he goes, I don't really care. He just laughed it off, and I think that's why he's a good goalie, because his mental toughness is there. Like maybe some other guys that would have rattled, but he knows that never happens, and it's the game of hockey. He actually joked and said the guy actually pulled his, when he threw the stick, the guy actually pulled that too, so it wasn't meant to be.
It's obviously very disappointing when that kind of thing happens, but also does that unite you a little bit? Yeah,
I mean, we're the kind of group that we can make a joke about. I mean, obviously we're upset about the loss. It is what it is. But hockey's a game of bounces, a game of inches, and sometimes those things happen. They're going to happen against the other teams too. So just laugh about it and move on. That's it.
You look at your leadership group here, and it's pretty strong. You're the guy that's got to head that up. What kind of things are you having to do on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis?
I think, honestly, like this group is so deep with leadership. I mean, with Paulie Phillips returning, Mario, who has the other A, and then there's older guys like Val. He does a great job. He works hard every day. All the way down to the first-year guys like a Connor Varley and a Cody Cartier. Those guys are constant professionals. They were way more professional than I was ever when I was my first-year pro. I was just there for a good time, and these guys are totally setting the example for new guys coming into the league or rookies, right? So honestly, my job as captain has been very easy so far. I mean, there'll be times where I'll have to step up and do different things, but I think the best thing to do now is just be positive and try to help the team gel together, because we've only been together for less than a month. It's not a lot, so nothing crazy though.
Let's talk about two of your rookies, Jack Prince and Cody. The pair of them have been contributing in front of the net. What are you seeing from the pair?
Yeah, I really like Jack Prince. He's the kind of guy that's just got a big body, and you can't move him. Like, he's just a big guy that if he drives the puck wide, he's got a hell of a shot. And another guy that's just an amazing guy in the room, just so happy to be here. Obviously has his goals set on playing for GB, which I think are very well deserved. Hopefully, if he keeps his play up, there's no reason why he shouldn't be there. And then with Cody, like I said, the kid's a constant professional. He's in amazing shape. As you see him on the ice, he's such a great skater. So he pulls himself away from a lot of defenders, and he wants the puck. As a defenseman, we love to have forwards that want the puck, and Cody's that guy. So he's scored a couple of real big goals for us already.
Just going back to Jack, how much will skating every day at this level help him? Because I guess if there's one area of his game that he needs to shunt on to that next level, it's getting those big legs and those big feet moving.
Yeah, and for sure. And he knows that too, and that's all he's doing is working on that. But if you watch him from 3 weeks, day one till now, I mean, he's improved a ton. And I think he joked about it. I think it was, I can't remember what game it was, but he got a breakaway, and he said, that's the first time I ever got a breakaway. I said, just keep skating, man. You'll, but he's a big presence, right? He's in the lanes. He plays for the team, and we're fortunate to have those kind of guys.
When you've got that third unit, if you like, how much are you going to need forwards 8, 9, and 10 when you're coming up against the teams with 4 lines?
Well, 8, 9, and 10 are really important right now because when you do have a couple of injuries, like we suffered in the last weekend, we're going to need those guys. So most teams play 4, but for me, it's good and bad because sometimes the top guys are not on the ice as much. If we're in top condition, I think it's almost an advantage playing 3 lines. But I think other top players want to be on the ice, So, but our third line has done a great job. They're learning, obviously, but they're going to be important in the long run for sure.
Let's talk about this weekend then. What are your feelings of the 2 games going in?
Well, they're the 2 big teams, right? We know what Sheffield has to bring, but first it starts with Nottingham. Really excited to play them. I know a few players on the team. Heard the rink's amazing. So again, I think we have to just have that mentality of let's worry about the first game and then we'll worry about Sheffield after. Because if you look at Sheffield, I don't think they got any points last weekend. I know Nottingham had a good weekend last weekend, so they're going to be tough in their rink. But if we stick to our plan and do what we're doing, we got a chance.
What do you think of the signing of a player like Brian McGrath?
I had a chance to play with him briefly in Binghamton when I was there with him. I think it's good. I mean, I think what a lot of people are going to be surprised about it is he's not, just a rough and tough guy. He's a good player. He's a really good player when he wants to be. So I remember that from him. So I haven't seen him play in a while. Just obviously NHL highlights and stuff like that. But he's going to bring a presence. But we have those guys also. So.
And when there's a player like that is physically so dominant, but does have a little bit more in his locker, how long will it take him to redevelop that into his game, if you like?
It's tough to say. I mean, he probably hasn't played a ton of minutes, coming into this, but he's played in the NHL. You can't play in the NHL anymore if you're not somewhat skilled, So I don't think it'll take him very long. He's obviously a professional, so he'll be wanting to have those different roles too, similar to Eric Nielsen on our team, right?
And you look at Eric, and he's already, he's a massive presence everywhere he goes. He seems to be omnipresent at times. Have you been surprised with what he's been able to contribute there? Yeah, no,
he's a breath of fresh air. He's what everybody wants to come to the rink, and listen to him. And he's got a bad joke, good joke. Most of them are bad, but we laugh, make him feel good about it. But he's been great, and it gets back to the captaincy thing. With him in the room, and obviously Pash in the room, it makes my job a lot easier. With the presence of those guys. And Eric's the kind of guy that he'll do anything for his teammates. He's so generous, and he's generous in the community. I mean, you see what he does with the fans and stuff like that. So. He's priceless when it comes to off ice stuff, but on the ice too. We really look towards him to actually make big plays for us now because he's got to step up into those roles and it's fun because he jokes about it that he's never had this kind of ice time and this and that, but he can do it. So it's good for everyone.
When you look at the Sheffield rivalry, the Yorkshire-Lancashire, the War of the Roses, is it built up as much here for you guys that are coming in first year?
Yeah, well, just knowing the history, it is for sure. Obviously, it's not as big for me yet, but after playing one game there and then playing them back at home, it sets in really quickly. So I think, like I said, I think we want to focus on Nottingham first and then worry about Sheffield, but I'm really excited about having that rivalry with them all year.
And what about playing in this rink when it's one of those nights where it's jam-packed, where the fans are kind of hanging from the rafters, where you know it's going to be loud. What does that do to you?
Well, it's just, we know that it's a huge advantage for us because obviously with the smaller ice service, and the fans are fantastic. The good thing is that we feed off it, obviously, and it does make you feel a lot better when your fans are behind us. And one thing I do have to add is that, you know, like the fans in the UK in general are really classy, really classy. Our fans are super classy. They welcome the other fans, and it is a family atmosphere when people come to the rink, you know. So my hat's off to our fans for that, because they stick with us, whether we lose or whether we win.
Is it what you expected?
Yeah, absolutely, and more too. I mean, Manchester's a fantastic place. I knew, you know, I had a few ideas about what it was, and Pash did a good job explaining what it was, and same with Neil as well. So I'm happy I made the transition, and you know, but that stops now, and hopefully I can just keep building with the team and keep getting wins and start moving up the standings.